L- Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our next session. As you can see from the screen and as you know from the agenda, it is an omni-channel session. But I promise you, we are not dealing in cliche or redundancy. We know that omni-channel is a well-established, much-discussed core principle. Our goal for today is not just to reiterate what you already know. It's to focus on truly understanding its meaning, its role, and its value in today's era of customer centricity. Specifically, we want to unpack the difference between how customers perceive omni-channel and how businesses view it. This is a common discrepancy for many contact center topics, but we'll reveal why it has specific relevance in the omni-channel discussion. Omnichannel, after all, is a big undertaking. There are some great solutions that can ease and enhance the process, but it's not as if you can get away without a legitimate commitment from your team. And so we need to make sure that the commitment we're making is absolutely the right one. As you'll see from data that I present, there are some concerns in the status quo. And if we're on the wrong track now, we're going to end up in a situation where we're imposing the wrong view of omnichannel on customers rather than meeting their true demand. All this hard work and transformation becomes a source of pain for the customer and thus a black mark for the business. If, on the other hand, we really understand what customers want, we'll be able to win those customers through our omnichannel strategy. Joining me today is Brendan Dykes from Genesys. Brendan will reveal a myriad of empirical and anecdotal evidence to support his view on omnichannel before diving into legitimate, practical tips for creating a customer-centric version, one that nixes the potential rift between business and customer. Before we get there, however, I want to share some research and analysis on behalf of CCW Digital. First, as many of you know, we recently conducted a very broad, in-depth consumer preferences survey, not just a survey of what contact center professionals want, but a survey of what end consumers are actually valuing. And what they told us is that not only is voice or live agent telephony their primary customer service channel, it's their preferred channel. By a factor of like 3 to 1, it was the #1 preferred channel over, popular buzzworthy areas like live chat. And so what that's telling you is that obviously customers right now see the phone as where they want customer service to happen. But why is that? Do customers actually love talking on the phone? Do they love, that idea of a conversation with a live agent? Do they love going in depth on every issue? Not quite, because when we asked why they call, why they seek live support, a whopping 85% said that they call to get their problem solved quickly. Now, instinctively, we don't think of phone as maybe the fastest channel. We don't think of it as where you're going to go when you just need a quick, simple solution to your problem. And so what we have to look at the ramifications of that finding. And what those basically are, as you can, we highlighted there, are that customers are seeking the experience that best meets their demands. They want, and we'll get into exactly what they want, but clearly they're looking for a fast resolution as one of those demands, and they believe that the phone is going to deliver that more so than digital channels. Even though digital channels, we sell them, we advocate for them as, kind of low touch, fast, frictionless ideas of getting your problem solved, it seems that customers are not quite sold on that idea. They're not quite seeing this promise being realized, this potential being lived up to, and therefore they're kind of seeking alternatives. And so when you think about omni-channel strategy, it's important to note that you can't just offer these channels and feel satisfied. Customers don't necessarily care that you offer a lot of channels. They care that you're using these omni-channel principles to give them what they want when they want it. And so it's important to, if we're going to talk about that, to wonder, what do they want? And moving the slide right here. So we also asked them to identify their top priorities when engaging with businesses, and 70%, the #1 priority, was first contact resolution. Now, it's important to note that they're saying they want their problem solved in their eyes. That's therefore a demand for an effective resolution. A lot of times first contact resolution becomes a source of discrepancy because you have the business view, which is just, oh, I kind of feel like I solved the customer's problem, let me move on to the next call to keep my call time down, which is vastly different than the customer feeling as if I got a resolution that was accurate, it was what I wanted, and it's going to stick. And so when they say FCR here, when they say first contact resolution, they're talking about an effective outcome. 69% said they want a fast resolution. Again, the same principle applies. It's this idea that they want to quickly get to the real resolution, the real information for which they're looking, not just being brushed off, not being given a half-hearted kind of interaction from the business. They want to get to what they're looking for as quickly as possible. Other key areas included friendly support, minimal wait times, and knowledgeable representatives. All are pretty basic, straightforward customer demands. They're not necessarily looking for anything elaborate. They're just looking for, they want, again, they want their problem solved, they want the information, and they want it to be an enjoyable interaction. They want it to be low friction. They want it to be somewhat personal, but they're not necessarily looking to be blown away. Not every interaction needs to be that whole Morton showing up at the airport with some steak. They want a simple, convenient, and enjoyable course from problem to solution. And that's what the business has to start thinking about. And so as the business thinks about that, we wanted to lay out some fundamental imperatives. First of all, in order for any of this to happen, there has to be legitimate integration in the back end. All systems, all channels, and all departments need to be connected. First of all, this should make sense to you who are on the business side, who are listening today, because you identified in our research disintegrated systems as your #1 cause of poor productivity. When we asked why agents are not getting the job done, why they're not hitting numbers, why they're not satisfying customers the way you want them to, the #1 kind of reason for that was that the systems were not aligned properly. When you do align those systems properly, you're going to get faster, lower effort experiences for your customers. You're also going to get more insight into who's calling, why they're calling, what their experience is, what their journey has been so far, where they want to go. When you have all that information, your agents can be more personalized. They can be more cordial and friendly because they know who they're speaking to. They can also deliver a better resolution. They don't have to just look at the knowledge base and give the standard resolution to a non-standard issue. They can really focus on what the customer wants and making sure they're connecting with them on that real level. And best of all, this actually helps the business too, because when your systems are connected, your agents perform more efficiently, and therefore you actually lower costs. So this is the ultimate example of what's good for the customer is what's good for the business. Now also it's important to leverage the power of digital and mobile channels. We mentioned that everyone knows that customers kind of value these in their everyday lives. That's why they became such a hot button issue, hot talking point for us in the customer contact space, because we know that customers are texting. We know they're using social media. We know that they kind of, in many cases, prefer that text-oriented conversation to a live voice conversation. And so if that's what they're using in their lives, they obviously value these, and it's about capturing that value in the customer experience. And so what you really need to focus on is making sure that you're not just offering these channels and actually creating more of a burden for your customers, but you're capturing that convenient, easy, straightforward interface that they love in their everyday lives when you're actually interacting with them for service or sales or marketing purposes. And then so to kind of wrap up my portion here, I think in essence, omnichannel needs to be viewed as a strategy for satisfying customers. It's not necessarily its own concept. It's not necessarily its own ideal. What it is, or its own demand, customers value it because it gets them what they want in a more enjoyable, lower friction fashion. And also, when you think about omnichannel, don't just impose your values on customers. Create an omnichannel experience that yields the outcomes that they're looking for, what their vision is. And to kind of understand what their vision is and to how you can actually go about creating that, Brendan Dykes is here to share his perspective. So I'm going to turn it over to Brendan right now.
Thanks, Brian. That was really insightful and very helpful for us to be able to get some background from the research that your company has done. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever you're listening to this webinar. My name is Brendan Dykes, and I'm a Product Marketing Director at Genesys. Genesys is a leading provider of customer experience solutions, powering more than 25 billion of the world's best customer experiences every year. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about my experiences, my findings and my understandings of omnichannel and what I am seeing in this area of customer versus business imperatives. So earlier this month, I took an Uber ride through rural Michigan, and my driver, Michael, was very chatty right from the off. Soon he was telling me about his 5 different jobs that he did, including baggage handler at the local airport, bail bondsman, running janitorial service business, driving for Uber and Lyft, and owning his own barber salon, where he had a manager looking after it. He then told me this great experience story, which stuck in my mind. He'd asked a lady at his church if she'd visited his salon, and she said yes. She said that she'd had a haircut by the owner, and after explaining that he was in fact the owner, he'd asked her what she thought of her haircut. Unfortunately, the lady then proceeded to list the things that she hadn't liked about her haircut. Michael then told me that he'd asked the lady to drop by the salon the following Friday, where he would cut her hair for free and give her back the $20 from the previous haircut. It struck me that Michael understood the importance of great customer experience to the reputation of his business. He told me that he knew the damage that would be caused by his disgruntled customer telling her friends and family about the bad haircut that she'd had. Too often it seems that this understanding has been lost in many organizations, particularly the larger the organization gets. According to CCW's full executive report, 58% of organizations increased their budget for customer experience technology this year. 75% are actively working to reduce customer effort, and 80% are committed to increasing personalization. This tells me that most businesses are starting to take this need to deliver exceptional customer experience seriously. So I've been involved in the area of customer service for over 30 years. Yes, I am that old. And in my experience, there are three common pitfalls into which many businesses seem to fall. The first would be not keeping the customer experience at the top of mind. We all want to be treated well as customers, but too often when processes and technologies are being designed, we forget that the customer's needs and expectations and their focus is important, and we focus too much on what we want to gain. This is partly because the value of great customer experience is hard to quantify against, for example, the cost of an agent. But there is now a very good body of evidence to show that the dangers of providing a bad experience is simply not worth the cost to the organization. Put simply, serve others as you'd like to receive customer service yourself. Michael understood this principle. The second area would be no access to the right person. When things go wrong, getting to a human is what we want. That person needs to have the right skills, the context, and the knowledge to be able to help us and be available when we need them. And finally, slow and incapable systems. If the processes and technology to enable great customer service are not up to the job, then both customers and agents will be frustrated. That technology needs to enable, not disable great customer experience. So what do today's customers want when they engage with your business? Let's look at Sarah's story. She visited your website to try and solve her issue. She chatted with your employees. She waited patiently. Now she's tweeting. With so many options to access information and services, today's customers are able to be flexible and free to access what they want when they want it. But here's the rub. When things don't go smoothly, most customers still want to talk to someone. Our staff need the right information and the right tools at their fingertips to answer our customers' needs and resolve their problems. Without being able to do this, we see that Sarah and others like her can broadcast their disquiet. This may not get her problem solved, but many others will know about your business and how Sarah feels she's been treated. What if Michael's hair salon customer had tweeted about her bad haircut? Sarah has some questions about the organization she's dealing with. Why does it take 3 people, 4 hours and multiple contacts just to support her? She wants one thing fixed. It's simple in her mind. You see, we all want our problems resolved, our issues fixed, or the information supplied in a way that makes life easier. In this fast speeding world, everyone believes that services should be easy, automatic, and immediate. Frictionless experiences is an industry term that I don't particularly like, but it does convey a picture of customers getting things done quickly and easily. Sarah, like most customers, can't and really doesn't need to understand that you have disconnected systems, agents without context or insight, and inadequate business processes. She just wants it fixed and fixed fast. So in this age of the consumer, Sarah, like many customers, is changing. How she engages, how she buys, how she discovers. She's also changing how she talks about you. With all this choice and so little time, our customers are like water. They look for the path of least resistance. They want it to be a smooth journey that is enabled along the way by you, your people, processes, and your technology. Sarah represents the majority by changing their expectations of service, not by the standards of service from your business or even your industry, but by the best experiences she can get anywhere. She is changing how she talks about you, and she is changing how she talks to you. So, Sarah wants it, and she wants it all. To paraphrase that Queen song, she wants it all and she wants it now. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. For a majority of us, the world has got faster and it's still accelerating. Acceleration through our working and social lives, the food we buy, the music we listen to. It's transforming the media, politics, financial services and markets, and customer service. Customers like Sarah increasingly demand fluidity in their transactions and interactions with firms. This is so-called zero friction. Sarah doesn't want her product purchases to be delayed, her delivery interrupted, or wait for her problems to be resolved. She wants it now. Customers reach out to their connections through the digital world of social media sites, blogs and microblogs, apps, and messaging to find, create, and consume information applicable to the interaction. It's much harder to pull the wool over Sarah's eyes if we don't know what we're doing or we make a mistake. Our mobile devices are on all the time. Smart devices represent the living heartbeat of the interconnected mobile digital marketplace. Sarah won't look at the clock when she wants assistance. She expects somebody or something to be there for her, whether it's self or assisted service or a blend. The demand is there 24/7 by 365 days of the year. The experiences that customers demand are becoming increasingly immersive. For example, augmented reality is now a key part of the latest Apple iPhone launch announcement. And whether it's for your customers or to aid your staff to deliver a better service, new and immersive technologies are being developed. So this accelerating lifestyle means that customers often don't have time to complete a transaction with your business in one go. We're seeing a move towards asynchronous customer engagement. Remember Sarah's journey? It started online. Then she chatted with your employees. These interactions with you and your customers can happen over the course of days, months, even years across multiple channels. She may look online in the morning, send you an email lunchtime, call you in the evening. She may look for human assistance online through chat, or she may want to use messaging applications like text messages or from her social media platform like Twitter. Throughout the interaction lifecycle, she will move seamlessly between channels, and she'll expect you to do the same. Soon to be published new findings by actionable research for Genesys found that although voice is still the most used channel, as Brian said, for customer service, the use of other channels is growing, particularly by the millennial generation. Mobile messaging use in this group is at 58%, double the usage rates of customers over the age of 55. The research also identified that 83% of consumers say that the ability to move between assisted service channels is desirable. This asynchronicity brings challenges to businesses as customers expect that your corporate memory of them, that's what you know about them, that's what they have done, and what they are needing can cope with this. Too often we see corporate amnesia despite all the investment in CRM because this context and knowledge is not available at the point of interaction. There is further evidence to support the demand for a multi-channel or omni-channel engagement. According to some research done for Bain and Company, the management consultants, they found that in most cases consumers believed that they received the best service through multi-channel engagement with their insurers. Often better than purely face-to-face or on the phone, and always better than digital alone. Customers like Sarah will use whatever channel they find the most convenient when dealing with their insurer or with any other business. So where does the problem lie between you and your customers? I would suggest it relates to the motive and motivation of service use and delivery. Customers want to use the channel of convenience in the moment, that they want to make contact via voice, online, messaging, chat, whatever suits them, there and then. They want to keep that flexibility, and the more channels they can use, the more they'll use. How many channels have we ever removed? Telex. The fax is alive and well and being used by many businesses still. They also want the flexibility to move between channels seamlessly as their needs dictate. Ultimately, the customers want a speedy response and an effective resolution of their needs. Purchase something, get help, make a payment, etc. For businesses, the demands are different. The cost to serve is still a key driver for most businesses. You want customers to use the cheapest channel, self-service first or only. Contain customers in a channel, especially voice or digital self-service, is seen as acceptable. But ultimately, you also want a speedy resolution to your customers' needs and to deliver an effective resolution the first time. So if a fast and effective resolution is the goal of both you and your customers, where is the conflict? Unfortunately, too often I have seen businesses focus too hard on containment in self-service. Too often, automation, be it voice self-service, the IVR, or web and mobile self-service, is designed to form a steel ring around the contact center, to be the trenches and barbed wire to keep customers out. I fear that there is a danger that artificial intelligence and chatbots could be used in the same way. Two, there's a need to be a blended approach, and human assistance is still and always will be required. Yes, customer service does have a cost, but bad customer experience has an even higher cost. Too often the service odds are stacked in favor of the business, without due regard for the best interests of the customer. Getting this balance right requires businesses to recognize that blended service can deliver benefits. And as I've already said, customers will take the path of least resistance, which may be to one of your competitors. So how do I see that you can rebalance the customer business scales? How can we reduce the feeling that it's customer versus business? Well, I see three strategies that can help. First, design for the mobile customer. Start where the customer is in your thinking. Is Sarah top of mind when you think about your service design? She is modern, mobile, and motivated to seek out what's best for her. Go omni-channel. It's no longer a could, but a should, or even a must. Your customers don't expect anything less. You need to have blended service available wherever you can, and it needs to be underpinned with context and knowledge that's accessible in and across all channels. And finally, leverage the cloud. Cloud technology is making it quicker, easier, and cheaper for you to deliver exceptional omni-channel experiences anywhere that you need them. So your customers have already gone omni-channel. Why not you? The smartphone enables your customers to access most interaction channels from one place and transition between them seamlessly. They have the choice of which channel they want to use when it is convenient to them, and to change between them at will. Again, recent findings by actionable research for Genesys found that 80% of consumers surveyed globally had used a mobile device to interact with customer service, and this rose to 92% for millennials. Also, mobile use extends well beyond the younger age groups, even for the over 65s, where 60% of the population had used a mobile device for customer service purposes. The majority of the population already have some basic omni-channel capability literally at their fingertips. According to the Consumer Technology Association, smartphone household penetration in the US has risen from 58% in 2013 to 74% by 2016, and it hasn't stopped growing. The prediction is that the number of smartphones users in the US will increase by a further 62 million by 2022. So what does this mean? It means that we need to design our processes and technologies around a customer who is mobile with an omni-channel communications device in their hands. They have the tools and they're going to use them. However, this doesn't mean you have to build an app. On average, people have 89 apps installed on their smartphones, but they only use 25 of them, and only 10 get used daily. But you do need to design for the mobile web, and that is very important. But making the move from self to assisted service seamless is even more important. In their seminal book by the CEB, The Effortless Experience, they showed that when customers had to change from the web to calling in, they felt like they had been transferred, just like being redirected from one department to another on the phone. And this was usually without any context and needing to start the transaction all over again. Blending self and assisted experiences is more important than ever now that all channels for the customer are in one place. To do this, we need processes and technologies that are flexible enough to adjust to the changing demands of customers, where new channels can be added without the need to introduce new vendors, integrate new platforms, or train for new interfaces, where context and knowledge is automatically provided to agents irrespective of which channel your customer chooses, even if they move between channels. So your customers' experiences become seamless and frictionless. Your agents are more efficient and effective, and less time is spent repeating information or looking up what has happened before. The result of this will be a reduction in interaction times, increased first contact resolution, and ultimately a reduced cost to serve. Happy customers, happy agents. But at one time, getting these new channels available, integrating to CRM or providing robust technology was the privilege of bigger businesses who had large IT departments and deep pockets. Cloud technology has removed the barriers of entry for omni-channel and that omni-channel world that I've outlined. The cloud has democratized great customer experience. The cloud has enabled businesses to deliver services that are quick and easy to stand up, available anywhere and anytime, reliable to use, flexible to consume, and scalable to meet your needs. As I said at Genesys, we power more than 25 billion of the world's best customer experiences each year in both cloud and on-premise, with the purpose-built solutions for businesses of all size, including Pure Cloud, our customer experience platform built specifically for the cloud. On average, Pure Cloud takes 38 days to ramp, and some customers have deployed it much faster. For example, if you look at mypurecloud.com, you can read Vivonet's successful story of deploying in just 4 weeks. Taking this approach allows you to not only offer more channels from a single platform with full context, it is available to support you and your staff anywhere, office, depot, home, anywhere in the world, delivering exceptional business continuity. Ultimately, enables you to deliver better, more integrated customer experiences more efficiently. So in summary, to help resolve the great customer versus business schism, to meet Sarah's needs effectively and efficiently, I see that we need to deliver fluid omni-channel service, giving your customers flexibility and reducing your cost to serve. We need immediate access to the right information in the best channel, self-assisted or blended, making it easy for your customers and your employees. We want interconnected experiences in and across channels, delivering seamless assistance for your customers and using consistent context and knowledge. It needs to be always on, self-service and blended service, providing designed customer experiences that are driven by your customer and business needs. It needs to be immersive customer and employee experiences, developing greater loyalty for both customers and staff. And finally, it needs to be enabled easily through the cloud, accessible to more organizations, to be more quickly deployed, democratizing the delivery of great customer experiences. Thank you for listening to this. Just to finish off, you can find out more in the virtual exhibition hall. Go find the virtual booth for Genesys, and thank you and have a great day.